Welcome to Nashville, Tennessee, the campus of Lipscomb University, as we get set for some ASUN women's soccer. However, one Justin Seaman alongside Erica Plunkett as the Lipscomb Bisons welcome in the Kennesaw State Owls. The Lipscomb Bisons coming in with an overall record of 7-3-1 on the year. Kennesaw State with a record of 5-5. And Erica, I'll bring you into this discussion. This is actually ASUN matchup, but this is not necessarily it does have implications for the ASUN tournament, but it doesn't. It's not one of the it's a crossover weekend game, and so because we've got East and West divisions now, Lipscomb and Kennesaw State, this game, the winner of this doesn't get any points. However, it could go to the standings at the end of this. Right now, Lipscomb overall ASUN record of 2-1, Kennesaw State with an overall record of 2-1 in the ASUN.
Yes, and it's really interesting, especially if you look on the ASUN's website, it'll show a conference record of 0-0. Because they don't count any of the games unless they're counting for points. And I think one of the most intriguing things about this situation is how they've spaced out these games. You're playing all your crossover games first, and then you're playing all of your division games. So after this game, neither team gets a break. You're going to play the next 5 opponents are going to be those teams within your division. The way the conference is set up now, you have 6 teams in the East, 6 teams in the West, and only the top 5 go. So it doesn't matter what's happened up to this point. This game is really the last warm-up for both of these squads as they get ready to try to get seeding for the tournament.
So the way it works is the top 3 teams in each division, which is determined by points earned within your division, automatically qualify for the ASUN tournament. The way these crossover matchups work and how they do have some significance for the ASUN Conference tournament is that division crossover records will be used to determine the 7th and 8th seeds in the ASUN tournament. And, you know, that in some ways makes sense because what that allows you to do is if you have one division that's stronger versus one that's weaker, you've got 2 kind of, I'll call them wild card spots, so they could both come from the same division if one division just happens to be stronger than the other division. Well, we've had a lot of rain here early on a Sunday morning, and hopefully in the afternoon now the sky is cleared a little bit. We're hopeful that we will keep the rain away. Going to have a little bit of a wet turf, that's for sure. This field does drain very well, but it is still, you would imagine, Erica, to be a little slick and wet out there. Lipscomb will take the first attack heading in against Kennesaw State. Lipscomb, one of the best defensive teams in the ASUN, as they will take a shot early, sending it cross, trying to get in there with a head look. That time for Lipscomb was Allie Dunn, but that'll go out of play, and it'll be a goal kick for the Owls.
You mentioned their talent on defense, and the reason we aren't as strong on their offense is just the inconsistency that they've had this season due to injuries. You see the back line, and there hasn't really been that many changes other than Angela Seidel coming in for an injured Emily Patty, but the injuries have really been up top for the Bisons. Their captain, Kelly Byler, their, at the time, leading goal scorer, Kalea Perry, all now out for the Bisons. So they've really had to have a couple of new faces step up. Shadia Valenzuela as well as Noah Ganthier have been 2 of those players, and we see Noah Ganthier starting today wearing number 18.
Going to get a free kick here for Kennesaw State, so try to get things set up as that'll be Catherine Schreck who will set things up for the Owls. Owls wins against North Alabama and Central Arkansas in the ASUN. Their only loss was to Jacksonville State. There's Tiana Rivera trying to send one middle, and there's CJ Graham. Graham over, I believe, an 89 save percentage. She has been fantastic for this Lipscomb defense. There's Emanuela Shirk for Lipscomb. Trying to get it down. They do to Allie Dunn deep in the right corner, and that one's going to go out of play. Haley Decker.
I believe they might have called that one offside.
They did actually call it offsides. Getting down in that deep corner, it's a little harder to see sometimes. Lipscomb trying to put some pressure on in the offensive end. That's going to go off of an Owl, so Lipscomb will have a throw in. Probably between 72 to 75 degrees out here, depending on if the clouds kind of block the sun or not. It's really perfect weather. However, with all that rain and all that moisture, you got to think some humidity could play a little bit of a factor here. It's not like I said, not nearly that hot out here, but we had a lot of rain early in the day, and we don't know if we're out of the woods yet. Could have some more.
It definitely feels warmer than about a 72-degree day.
It does.
And we saw the humidity and the rain be an issue last night for the men's team. Both Liberty and Lipscomb had some mistakes early in that game because of the wet ball. It was more difficult for the goalies, and so that continues to be the case even without the rain. This field is still wet. The ball is still wet. And so that will be an interesting thing to watch. It was not as clean of a game as you typically see from either squad because there was it was just a slick surface. So players were falling and it was causing more fouls. So that's another thing to keep an eye out for this afternoon.
Lipscomb doing a good job early keeping it in the offensive end. Tried to clear that one out.
And we know that Coach O'Brien would love to have his team known as an offensive team. Right now, I would say their strength is on the defense, but he wants the offensive prowess from this squad, and so being able to keep the ball up here this consistently early in the game is exactly the kind of action that he wants to see.
Free ball opportunity as foul there. Looks like it's going to be Carapazza sends it in, and that's kind of an easy look that time for Dylan Pixton, who she quickly gets it out, trying a little transition offense for Kennesaw State. Ball got away that time. Lipscomb holds an all-time record of 9-11-1 against Kennesaw State. Bisons do come into this contest, though, on a 2-game winning streak against the Owls. And here at home, dead even, 5-5, the record overall between Lipscomb and Kennesaw State in Nashville. Long run by Lipscomb, trying to send one center. And that one knocked out of play. It'll be a goal kick. You mentioned all the injuries, Kelly Byler, Kalea Perry, Ashley Watucky. Yes, that's why you're seeing some of the likes of Allie Dunn, Tori Wheeler, Shadia Valenzuela, Noah Ganthier, some of these players that are starting to make a name for themselves, but may not have seen or heard as much from them had Lipscomb not had some of those injuries.
Yes, and I think Coach O'Brien would love to get these younger players more experience. This wasn't the circumstance under which he thought he was going to get that, but I know that he's happy to get to see them out there. He appreciates the energy that they bring to this team, and I think there's something exciting knowing that you're a young player on the team and you have something to prove. So I think that they bring a lot of energy that, yes, you have the talent and the leadership of the captain and the transfer who's had so much playing time, but I think that there's a special energy that you get from younger players that you may not get from the seniors.
Nice turn there by Tiana Rivera, but Katia Hanger right over there to cut it off. Manuela Shirk for Lipscomb in the middle. Hanger and McFadden so steady on that back defensive line for Lipscomb. Trying to get a touch down there, a little long that time, and come into the hands of Pixton. Kick there off of Kennesaw State. Try to go cross field there. McFadden cutting that off in the middle.
Great job by McFadden. One thing that Lipscomb has done really well early on in this game has kept the ball out of Ebony Clark's, or off of Ebony Clark's feet. She's been a huge player for the Owls. She had 2 goals in their win against Central Arkansas, and leads the team with 4 goals on the season. She had another 2-goal game earlier this season, so she's really the player to watch out for. She will have a tough challenge, though, going into the middle against Katia Hanger and Logan McFadden, who are just consistent players for Coach O'Brien.
Yeah, Ebony Clark and also Tiana Rivera, 2 of the really good offensive players. There's Rivera right there trying to get a handle on it. Rivera assisted on 3 goals this season, also adding a goal, has a team-high 5 points. The 3 assists is tied for 4th in the A-Sun right now. Here's Molly Grant trying to get it into the middle. Just cut off at the last second there by the Owls. It was Isla Swinton. Here's Grant trying to see about maybe getting a corner kick down there instead. Goes on the line, it'll be a goal kick.
And even though Grant had one too many steps there at the end, that was some of the more consistent passing that we've seen so far from the Bisons up that sideline between Shirk and Grant and Ganthier, and starting off from Steidel.
Cami Rogers. Noah Ganthier, great move there, a left-footed boot, just goes wide right. That was the first real kind of nice look Lipscomb's had, and really done completely by, I think that was Noah Ganthier. We've got some numbers that have changed up in this one.
We see Ganthier in Kalea Perry's 18 today. It threw off the PA announcer when we were starting off with lineups.
And I think I think that's Angela Steidel. We got a lot of water coming off our tent here.
And yes, I think Angela Steidel has gone from
31
to 30
yeah.
today.
You got to kind of really be on your P's and Q's here to try to. And the interesting thing is there's not even a number 30 on the roster. It's not even a number that you can.
If these are old jerseys that they were using from last year, that they didn't have a 20 and a 31 for Ganthier and Steidel.
Carapazza over there battling. Only 1 shot so far here as we've played a little over 10 minutes, as that one slides through harmlessly. Able to pick it up is Pixton. But most of the action has been on the Lipscomb offensive side of the field so far. So if you're Coach Kevin O'Brien, I think you've at least got to be pleased with that aspect of things.
We see more of a chase from Kennesaw State. Lipscomb seems to be the one who has more possession and is making the more consistent passing. And Kennesaw State is just trying to get the ball out of their defensive third and string together a couple passes in a row.
That ball trying to get it up. That time to Ebony Clark, who the aforementioned Clark, who's really the best forward probably on this Kennesaw State team. Now I got a Kennesaw, a little confusion there. Kennesaw State throw, and there is Clark trying to find somebody to give her some help. Carapazza cuts it off as they go cross field. Here's Ganthier. She had the 1 shot we've had. Katia Hanger pushing up from the defensive end. Nice ball there. Don't think she's offsides. We'll see. No, they're not going to call offsides. That's Allie Dunn, and she's going to earn a corner kick.
That was a great move by Allie Dunn there to work around the Kennesaw State defender, and then to have the poise to bounce the ball off the next defender. Give her team arguably their first real chance of the game.
And give credit a lot to Katia Hanger, too, who was kind of pushing up defensively to cut off that ball and push it into the offensive end. Here comes the corner kick. They're going to go short. Cammie Rogers sends it back towards the goal, but nobody home. And Kennesaw State had brought back the house for that corner kick, so there's nobody. And C.J. Graham comes way out to try to get it back in transition for Lipscomb. Here's Emanuela Shirk. Now Kennesaw State trying to get a run at it. Katia Hanger cuts it off. Here's Clark, though. Clark trying to find some space. Got Carapazza and Logan McFadden over there, and it's going to be a corner kick. So nice work by Ebony Clark. So we saw our first corner kick from Lipscomb. Now we will see our first corner kick from Kennesaw State. And see who they send down there to do it. It looks like it may be Catherine Schreck.
I want to apologize for the tent poles that you're occasionally going to see in this broadcast. If you didn't hear the water falling off the tent, it's not raining at the moment, but the wind is picking up and there's still some rain in the forecast, so we're trying to keep our camera dry and the broadcast going.
Here's the corner that slips through and off the post. Unbelievable. Erin Miller, that ball somehow slipped through, and Miller was the last woman standing back behind. Had what looked to be a pretty clear look at trying to get one slipping inside the left post, and it just bangs off the post.
And I believe C.J. Graham also got a hand on that ball as Kennesaw State earns another corner kick on the opposite side of the field.
I mean, you talk about a golden opportunity. Kennesaw State right there. Now they'll have this second corner, as you mentioned. Ball lofted high. That'll be headed, but wide right.
And that's going to be a shot that they're going to want back one-on-one with the goalie.
Now Kennesaw State trying to apply some pressure. We saw most of the action, as I mentioned, the first 10 minutes of this one in the offensive end for Lipscomb. Now Kennesaw State trying to flip the script a little bit. Again, this is an ASUN crossover matchup between Kennesaw State and Lipscomb. Kennesaw State in the East Division, Lipscomb in the West Division of the ASUN. As the ASUN now with multiple members, 3 new members coming in this year, and then also just recently announced that Austin Peay will be joining the ASUN next year.
And at least for Lipscomb, Austin Peay is a very familiar opponent. Many of their teams play almost every year, just with the proximity from Nashville to Clarksville.
Now we're going to get a foul. And I think there was a head. They collided heads there. That's Angela Steidel bringing out the trainer. They stopped time here, 29:05. And looked like her, and I couldn't see if that was Tiana Rivera, or I thought it was Tiana Rivera who kind of went up in the air with her, and it looked like they may have kind of collided heads.
It was very apparent that was a head injury as soon as
Yeah, because the
went
official
down.
immediately, who was a lot closer than anybody else. So Steidel gets up. She still looks a little woozy, wobbly, but she's going to be able to pretty much, it looks like, walk off for the most part under her own power. Lipscomb is going to check in her place now, Shelby Kraft.
I believe her substitute might actually still be warming up. I believe Shelby Kraft is already
Shelby
in
Kraft
the
was already
game.
in. That's what I was wondering. Shelby was already in. You're right. So we'll see who they're going to end up
Because
bringing
it's a
in.
head injury, she is required to leave. So,
Going to bring in Ashley Witucky. Is that correct?
I
thought
think
Witucky was out. I think she's got Witucky's number.
she has Witucky's number. I believe that's Summer Elmore.
Yes, I
who
think
would be
you're
coming
right.
in.
This is going to get a little confusing for me and you. So it is going to be Summer Elmore wearing Ashley Watucky's
They just
number
want to keep
23.
us on our toes.
Exactly. It is Summer Elmore. And I think Lipscomb should have the ball here. I thought there was a foul. Was there a foul whistled on that play, or did they just stop play?
I'm not sure if it was a foul. It looks like they're going to give them a foul. If it was just an injury, they would drop the ball, and Kennesaw State would kindly let Lipscomb have possession.
It's going to be McFadden, though, on the free kick. Good look there. Gets it off the chest of one of Lipscomb's players, but nobody there for the rebound. Carapaza knocks that one almost onto the road over there. That one careens off the fence. Not a lot of shots in this one. We saw the best opportunity, though, from Kennesaw State. They've had 2 shots, but the best one was off of their first corner kick. It kind of slipped through kind of the back door there, but it careens off of the post. There's Summer Elmore nicely cut off there. Molly Grant controlling it, going left side, and coming over, trying to get it in the middle, and a shot, that time by Cammie Rogers. It was interesting. I think Cammie Rogers kind of was able to slow down just a little bit. She had more room than she thought she did.
I think they thought that Kennesaw State was going to come out and get that ball pretty quickly, or it was going to roll out of bounds. So she ended up with a decent chance on that ball, but maybe if it was more apparent what was going to happen a little bit sooner, there would have been more Bisons in the box, and she would have elected to go with a cross rather than a shot and given Lipscomb more of a chance in the middle of the box rather than from the outside.
Throw in here for Lipscomb to Ganthier. Ganthier had a good look early in this first half. She's going to try to work down, maybe to see if she can earn a corner. She did not. Didn't get it off of a ricochet there, so it'll be a goal kick.
And it has just now started to rain. It almost feels like a 10 to 15 degree temperature change from when we started this broadcast. No sun, some rain, and more wind.
Yeah, the rain picking up. You can see the umbrellas and the jackets coming up. We are under a tent, but the rain right now is going a little bit kind of coming right to left. That ball stays in play, and now it's kicked out. So a wet field is just going to get wetter now, and the ball that was already slick will get slicker. There's Emmanuel Shirk. Now Lipscomb trying to work it into the middle. McFadden tries to go to Carapaza, but that's the other thing too. That ball is going to just scoot quick. Ball is going to slide very quick, so.
And all these players need to be careful. They've obviously got cleats on, which makes a world of difference, but this is exactly the kind of weather where injuries are much more likely to happen. Lipscomb is already dealing with a number of those, so they need to be careful and try to avoid any sort of overly physical play for the rest of this game.
Great battle there by Summer Elmore. Elmore looking to hand off. She tries to get in the middle, a nice cutoff there, and then a collision between Hanger and Tiana Rivera. Here's Elmore. Trying to crack that Kennesaw State defense. Lipscomb has had a couple of shots in this first half. Kennesaw State as well, but been good defense on both sides for the most part. So we approach the 25-minute mark here in the first half.
Another thing that I think is going to start to change as the rain picks up is we're going to see more conservative passes. They're not going to be switching the field as often.
And this too is where if you can just be able to maintain and control possession. You get a defender potentially to slip, and then you get just a crack in the armor there, and that's where you attack. But this is where it also gets troublesome for the goalkeepers as well. Here's C.J. Graham. She's just going to move it out a little farther. Pixton trying to get it to Rivera. She does. Little touch pass there to Borgelt. Lipscomb closing in fast in the offensive end, not giving much time and space to Kennesaw State. Nice touch there. I'm afraid that ball's going to slide before Lipscomb can get to it. It does. So it'll be a goal kick for Pixton now.
Grant has actually been open a lot of times up in that upper right corner, but she's got to watch. She's really testing that offsides line for the Bisons.
Trying to be aggressive on the offensive end. Here's Pixton with the goal kick. Got under that one a little bit. Katia Hanger moving into the offensive end. She got one punched right back towards her chest, and now going to be a foul against Kennesaw State. As going down hard that time was Emanuela Shirk. The rain was moving right to left. Now it looks like it's moving a little more left to right. As
for a second there, it seemed the sun was about to come back
Yeah.
out, but now
There's
it's
a long,
clouds.
and that ball going to get in the goalkeeper's interference with the goalkeeper. That was a good kind of look in there to try to get, it looked like it was Molly Grant in there, but Grant just kind of drifted back into the keeper. So
Very rarely when the goalie has her hands on the ball, if anyone is anywhere near her, will it not be called a foul. They want to try to protect those goalkeepers.
and now the rain coming down much harder. More kind of just straight down right now. We may have some more people join us up under this tent here in a minute too. Here's Grant. Got some room on the right side, goes middle. Shot, that's going to go left. Just wide left that time was Allie Dunn, who had some space right at the top of the box. But it goes wide left. But a nice look there by Lipscomb, right as the rain really was starting to pick up.
And it's the perfect chance. You'd much rather have the ball in your offensive third in the rain than in the defensive third. The ball and the goalie gloves are going to get slick very quickly if they're not already.
Here's Kennesaw State trying to transition. That one kicked out. Shelby Kraft, nice job there just to clear it. 3 shots for Lipscomb, 2 shots for Kennesaw State. Both teams with 1 shot on goal in this one. Still no score here in the first half as diving tackle there. Katia Hanger sends a Kennesaw State owl over the top of her.
I feel like every game we watch with Katia Hanger, his slide tackle gets better.
Here's Catherine Schreck moving it up, trying to find Tiana Rivera. She's cut off by Elmore. Summer Elmore, nice move to get around the defender. Now she's got some space. Gets it to Molly Grant on the right side. Grant looking to center. She does. Just goes right at Pixton, though. That was a good look because Allie Dunn was closing in fast. If it had been back just a little bit, Dunn might have been there to get the score.
That was a great setup by Summer Elmore. I've seen that opening for the past few plays by Lipscomb, and I was hoping they would take advantage of that.
Now Kennesaw State will move into Lipscomb's into the field. Here's McFadden. Cami Rogers cuts it off. Here's Dunn trying to get it to Grant. Grant trying to make a run. Pixton way out of the goal box. She will clear that one. And, you know, with a wet ball and a wet field, that's a little dangerous there by Pixton.
It was a risky move by Pixton, but she stuck with it. She didn't hesitate for a second, and that really helped her out.
Here's Grant again, this time on the left side. Gets inside the box. Grant puts a kick on it. That was a really nice move by Molly Grant there to get a shot off. It was just right at Pixton right there at the corner of the goalpost. So Pixton being forced into making a few more saves here. That's now 3 shots on goal by Lipscomb, 5 shots in the first half. Under 20 minutes to go, first half, in this ASUN crossover matchup between Lipscomb and Kennesaw State. Here's Ebony Clark. Trying to get a long shot there. I think Lipscomb may have got, did they get a foot on that or not? And I believe we're going to get a sub coming in. So they're going to say Lipscomb didn't touch. It will be a goal kick. Fortunate there because it looked like Lipscomb may have gotten a touch on that to force that shot wider than I thought it was going to be from Ebony Clark. Two fouls issued against Kennesaw State, none against Lipscomb. Kennesaw State had 2 corners. They had their best scoring opportunity on a corner earlier in this game. Here's Cammie Rogers. She's onside. Here's the shot. It just leaks wide.
Great look by Cammie Rogers. She's really stepped up. She's been a consistent player for the Bisons throughout her career, but in the absence of Kelly Byler and Clea Perry, she's become the leader on this team. She's now wearing the captain's armband that was Kelly Byler's at the beginning of this season.
And it must have ricocheted off of a Kennesaw State player, either that or Pixton got her hand on it because Lipscomb's awarded a corner kick out of it. So Dunn's going to kick the corner. I believe that's Dunn down there. Hard for me to. Deep in the corner over there is a little hard for our vision.
It
And
sounds
now
like there
I
might
believe
be
we got a lightning delay. So at the 18:02 mark, we're going to have a lightning delay. No score here between Lipscomb and Kennesaw State. We're going to get a lightning delay here. We're going to take a timeout in the action here. We will hopefully be back with you sooner rather than later, but for the moment, 18:02 left to go first half. No score between Lipscomb and Kennesaw State, and we are going to take a timeout because of a lightning delay. Well, good afternoon. We'd like to give everybody an update on the situation here at Lipscomb University in the matchup between Lipscomb and Kennesaw State. We are still under a weather delay, and unfortunately, we are going to have to cut off the broadcast here because the weather has gotten so bad here that our equipment is starting to unfortunately get compromised, and so we're going to have to cut off the broadcast. Not sure yet if this match will resume, but as you can see from the picture, we are experiencing some heavy downpours and also lightning strikes still within the vicinity. So every time there's a lightning strike within 10 miles, that's another 30 minutes tacked on. So if you'll just stay tuned to your schools, Lipscomb and Kennesaw State's Twitter account, and I'm sure the websites, I'm sure they will be updating you about the status of when or if this game gets back underway. Again, no score here, and we are under a weather delay, but unfortunately we're going to have to pull the YouTube broadcast just because our equipment is being compromised with the weather. So thank you for tuning in, and hopefully this game will get underway, and we will see you next time. So for Erica Plunkett, I'm Justin Seaman saying so long from Nashville as we are in a weather delay in the Music City.